Hello everybody, welcome to another game on our speedrun with the white pieces against Ronin, rated 1470. He hits us with a Sicilian. We're going to play a close Sicilian. He goes e6 instead of bringing the knight out, so we can't bring our bishop outside the pawn chain and hit the knight because it's not there. So in this case, let's just bring our other knight out and just play normal. No theory, normal. Okay, he goes d5, gaining space in the center. Takes d4. We'll play that. And now we have our pawn presence in the center. He can take or push. He decides to push. Okay. So now he's gaining space on our side of the board. If I go b3, he can't really go b5 because it hangs. So how does he defend his pawn chain? I guess he can try to attack my knight with the weakness I created. But after bishop d2, maybe he adds more pressure with the queen. But I could then move the knight. I don't really know how he defends this pawn because I'm hitting it twice. And you can't undermine the pawn chain with with e4 because you don't have an e-pawn. So we have, if we do want to undermine the pawn chain instead of play around it, we have to play b3. Okay, so he doesn't defend the pawn or attack the knight, he just develops. But now we can take this. And even if he takes, that pressure is still covered, I think. I hope. So let's hope this is a pawn. Okay, he just immediately pins the knight, which threatens the central pawn by removing a defender. However, we're up a pawn, and we can take this. And if we take it, we're hitting his knight. His knight can't go anywhere good, so this is just really bad for him. So now we're up a second pawn because he didn't take back. Okay, the knight's pinned, but the queen's definitely not pinned. So he just lost a piece. Now he's just playing fast moves as if he didn't just blunder. You see how he's insta-moving? This is an attempt to throw off the opponent, but sorry buddy, not gonna work here. I'm just gonna have this construction, and it's just so solid. Well, now I'll move it because he decided to create weaknesses. So now I can hunt his king easily. Let me just move my king out of the way. I want to go bishop here, but let me slow down. He's moving fast. It doesn't mean I have to move fast. Maybe I have better moves. Hold on. Queen here, you see, I already have a check. I don't need to try to do it with the bishop. I mean, he could try to defend, but any trades are up. I'm up a piece, so it's good for me. But anyway, I want to get it out of this alignment with the rook. So let's definitely throw in the check. He might feel obliged to trade queens, but we can trade on our terms if we want. Or we could just take his queen. I think I'm going to do that since we're up a piece. It just simplifies things because now I can easily castle either way, even though they're both open. There's no queens. And because there's no queens and he doesn't have a light square bishop, I'm just going to lift my king instead of castle. King e2. I feel like it's better in the center, so it's probably better than castling either way. He develops the knight, but he doesn't ask what my threat is. King e2 looks passive. I guess I could have just done it there. So, whoops. Anyway, I missed this move because I was too busy with my king. And when I'm up a piece, I kind of just get a little lazy. Or whenever I think I have my win condition, I get a little lazy. So now we throw it in. It is pinned after all. And we can continue our king march towards the center through d3. Okay, he moves his king closer, but it's still pinned. It also walks into knight b5, double attack. He moves his king. The rook is now unpinned. I don't see a good check we can throw in. So let's take the free material. Okay, trades are good for us, so let's take his bishop. Okay, he moves his king. Fine. Let's simply just defend the pawn with another pawn. He hits the king, but this just improves it, defends our pawns. Okay, he goes knight here. Okay, fine, he's going to go here, but it's not really a big deal. Let us contest his only rook. He can throw in the check, it's fine. He does give us the check, but I mean, we could improve it. He might just keep messing around with checks though, and I don't really want to just deal with that, so let me go here and just... Okay, he puts his rook to a more passive square, so we're happy to see that. Develop with a threat, improve with a threat. There's no way to defend the knight properly, so he has to move it. Now that he moves it, I can double stack and his knight is off sides. He can waste more time, but he'd rather cover the infiltration square. Let's put the bishop on a defended square while harassing the rook, see where it wants to go. It goes here, targeting the pawn a little bit. Fine. He can never really do anything with this pawn or this pawn. The rook can never do anything. The king can't really move. The only thing that can move is the knight. But what can he really do with it? So that means I have infinite time. So I guess let's just go behind him. And what do we want to attack? I guess technically everything's defended with the current construction, which is funny. So let's go here. Now that he did his only knight move, I guess he can go here, but all trades are good for me, so I can take it. And the game is, very much over. We're up 6 points of material. We have full control over the E file. We have a connected pass D pawn. The only light square bishop. It's definitely the end for him. Let's just close this off and maybe we can put him in zugzwang where he runs out of moves that help his position. So because we're up 6 points of material, I'm just going to take the knight. That's the one piece that he had that could move. Now it doesn't have it. Can't move. Nice and easy. Now all he has is fractured pawns. We can just slowly do what we want. Okay, he moves a pawn, but eventually they're going to get captured. All they can do is move them. Let's start with the check. He has to go here. This is interesting. If my king is here, it's almost mate, which is funny. But there's no need for that. I mean, we can just take all of the free stuff. If he moves the rook, then maybe I'll just throw in king c3 because it's a mate in one thread. And like this, he moves the rook. Maybe he thinks this doesn't really, I make a random king move and walks into mate. Ta-da. So I'm not going to go through that game because he hung a piece right away. I know I made one dumb move when I moved my king up and I could have just pinned the rook, but other than that, I think it was fine. So let's move on to Siciliano, rated 1500. Let's see what this guy does. Or does not. Come on, you could do it. Just make a move. He joined 10 months ago. Okay, he abandoned. Game aborted. Chicken. Okay, so we have a game against Ahmed, who's rated 1400, which is less than 1500. who also has a hard time making the first move. I click the button that says the message good luck. Maybe that will, there we go. These people. So anyway, we're black, so we're gonna try to play the Pirc as white adopts, you know, a very classical setup. 2 pawns in the center, both knights out, bishop development, all solid stuff. Now we're castled. All we need to do is get our minor pieces out and fight for the center as well. With e5, c5, something like that. I'm going to pin this knight, get my bishop out earlier than I usually do, just to try something different. Usually I keep it here for a long time on its home square. Okay, so he retreats, which is weird. I don't think it's that serious, but okay. I'm going to play c6, just try to dominate the knight a little bit. See what white does. Maybe he'll kick my bishop and I'll take his knight. But instead he pushes in the center. Normally, when they do this early, it's not good. Here it's move 8, so you could say it's not so early, but if I take it and he takes it, after any trades, queens or minor pieces, I don't see how that is good for him. Or I don't see how it's bad for me, let's say. Also, what if I just jump my knight in the center? Takes, takes. How bad is that structure? Is it bad? So that. Unnecessary. So I'm going to go to the very common retreating square. The reason it's common is because it goes from being in the way of attacking the dark squares to out of the way and becoming an attacker. So he trades, which opens up the diagonal. So that's the point. It's to pressure the diagonal so much that he feels like he has to trade and your bishop becomes strong again. The downside is you have this backwards d6 pawn, which you can target. But that's not a real downside because you can always push it. Well, not always. He's allowing us to push it because he didn't stop us. But do we have other moves? Well, let's see. He's attacking our pawn. We could defend it, and you know, if we wanted, but I feel like d5 makes the most sense. And this kind of converts the game into a favorable d4 opening where he blocked his c pawn and I didn't. So now I have this pawn chain, whereas he's going to have to move his knight at some point to move the c pawn to c3 or c4. I thought maybe he would try this in here, but doesn't do much, I guess. He goes rook over, simple developing move. And now that this square is playable by his pieces, maybe taking the knight is better because then he can't use the dark squares and the light squares are shut down and my light square bishop is kind of in the way. That's fair. I do want him to waste a turn hitting me, but if he just jumps the knight in the center, whatever, I take his bishop, he takes mine. I mean, it's fine. No, I'm going to take it. I don't want him to have that knight. I don't want a knight on e5. He could have the bishop. And now that he doesn't have a knight defending his d pawn or the e5 square, I guess I could try to maybe put my knights like this, get one of mine on e4, get a rook to e8. I can't really add pressure in a way that's going to win this pawn because he can definitely defend it, but it's nice to have this long-term dark square pressure. Okay, so we need to get our knights in the game and connect our rooks. If we go here and he pins us, we just move our queen. So let's improve our pieces and complete our development. Okay, he does go for the pin, but that wastes a turn with a piece, which I'm happy to see because he's not making progress in the position, I feel like. So now I want to move my queen and unpin, but put it on a good square. c7 and d6 seem reasonable. Maybe he can do this, but I could then relocate it. We'll try d6, the most forward available square. I mean, if he does hit it, it's a little weirder because you don't have a move like queen b6 or queen a5. But I mean, it shouldn't be a problem. I mean, big deal, b4 or something. Okay, so he double stacks so that he can get rid of my good bishop. I'm not in time with this because that square is defended way too many times. I could and probably should just bring in another piece. That's what I'll do. Or maybe he's going for this. You never know. One of these. None of them I'm particularly worried about. If he goes for the queen, we go queen b4. If he hunts it, you can always back up to b6, back to d8. It's never trapped, so. And moving your bishop back and forth doesn't exactly help your position, so. And now our rooks are connected, so one of them is going to end up on the e file. And white definitely doesn't have, didn't get anything out of the opening. He has the bishop pair, but the light square bishop really isn't that good. It's technically his good bishop, but it's not going to be doing much. So we get out of the way and hit the pawn. So now he has to spend a turn making a defensive move. So we get the turn back. It also kind of hits this. So if we can have a good knight move, maybe we can attack this. I'm noticing. So instead of rook here, this messes up our pawn structure pretty bad. I don't really see other knight moves I like. I guess I could go here and here, but I don't want to waste time with that. So let's just contest the rook. This also opens up a square for our queen, funnily enough. In case we don't want to maybe put it on b6, although... Oh, he takes, so we take. And then he makes room for his king. Fair enough. I kind of want to double on the e file with my queen. So I'm going to make this move and try to reorganize my pieces with the queen behind. That way I can really just pressure the e1 square. Okay, he's moving his bishop again. How many times is he going to move his bishop? And this stops this, which was not my intention, but a cool side bonus. I feel like this is good on the light square. This doesn't work. He takes, and now if we take with the bishop, it does work. I mean, not that it works. I mean, let's just go here because we want to here. And this still covers this, is my point. He doesn't win anything if you allow that. It's just, there's no point. So now our position's super, solid, let's say. Now he finally moves the knight. He can solidify or attack. But it undefends the center, and that's what I've really been waiting for to get my knight in. For favorable circumstances. Now all of my pieces look great. I need to improve my queen. Maybe queen e7 or queen e8, depending on circumstance. He takes. We don't want to ruin our pawn. Let's go here. If he attacks the rook, we win the pawn. So a very noobish move is to, ooh, I can hit a rook. Let me automatically do it, because you want to improve your knight anyway. So he attacks it this way, but this creates dark square weaknesses. This might even be worse. I mean, probably not worse than losing your pawn, but it's definitely not a good move. And now we can go back here so we don't walk into this tempo. And that's what I mean when I say depending on circumstance, right? His knight happens to, be able to hit it, so you choose a different square. He goes here anyway, but it's not a tempo move. Also, if we wanted, we can force more trades, but I kind of like my bishop, so I'm going to go with the doubling plan, which controls this. Now his rook cannot come here and contest me. The only thing is I have 3 minutes on the clock, which is a lot less than I would like. Okay, so he makes random pawn moves. Maybe he's going to do something at some point. But now I'm looking more and more at the pin now that I'm already doubled. So let's throw it in because of time. And I don't really care about the pawn, which a lot of you might be hyper focused on. If there was an easy way to win it, sure, I would have maybe gone for that, but I feel like all the weaknesses that he's making, the pin is still on. So what does that mean? Can I go here? But then the queen can take. I can go here. And attack his pawn, and if he moves his king up, that blunders this and this. Oh no, he can actually move his king here. Because then this. Okay, that's the blunder though. That's a blunder. I would have had to keep calculating if he went to f2, but luckily, because I don't want to calculate, this works. So now you can see why having the king on f2 would have at least attacked the rook in tandem with the queen. Here, that's not a thing. And even if you did move the king here, I mean, you can still mess up his structure, right? For long-term prospects, you still have control over the e-file. You'd rather be black, of course. But very well played for 1400. Not blundering a piece like so many of our opponents do time and time again. Almost like clockwork. So we have the file, and maybe we can create a mating net with pawns. Well, I'm going to try. So let's start the net, because the queen cuts this off. So if we can give an h-pawn check somehow. Okay, he can never do this, so I don't know what that move is. Maybe it's like a last-ditch thing, hoping I won't notice. But I guess if I ever get a pawn here, I would need to be supported. So I need my king. Okay, let's box him in, and now this is checkmate. So he has to go back. He goes back. And now we get our king in to create the net a different way. Okay, he's just moving his rook back and forth. Here, 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 here. And his king can't move. He has to go here. Now if I take this way, then I can move my king here and get in this checkmate. But let's take that way. Otherwise, he can throw in pawn checks, which change the mating net. Then I have to think again. Let's just put our king here and try to do this mating net. He could stop it with the rook behind, but I mean, after this check, I'm going to be able to attack the rook at some point. So let's get our king in position to block the light escape square on the h-file, h5. Now we have this check. Okay, so he changes the mating construction just to be annoying. Now I could do this, this, this. Oh wait, no, I'm gonna be in check if he once he does here. That's funny. Oh shoot, I have a minute. Okay, he goes there. That's checkmate. Checkmate in 2. See, even though you're kind of hyper focused on being behind him, with a clear mind, you remember you can also go to your side of the board. You're not limited to your previous ideas. And we get a cool mate. Very cool mate. He changed the construction on us, but we got it anyway. So let me just click analysis quickly, because he did play pretty well. And maybe I made some dumb mistake or something, which allowed him to be in the game for so long. So I do have a blunder. See, I had a feeling. No. Okay, so here it's completely lost, and all you have to do is take the pawn. And if he goes here, you're going to infiltrate and win. Is that it? Well, let's say he takes with the pawn. Then they're saying you probably just infiltrate and win. And ruin his structure. I mean, whatever. If he takes with this, you go to the back rank probably. Yep. And you mess with his king since he has no cover. But you just have a queen, so it's you're gonna eventually just pick up all of his pawns. But I don't like this variation. I don't like this one at all. You have to play extremely accurately. I hate these queen. Even though you're completely winning, you always have to calculate perpetuals. I hate these. They're so annoying to play with little time on the clock. So I mean, none of that was too amazing or impressive to me. But let's get to that point. So let's not, because the rest of the game is perfectly fine. So I move my rook here. Oh yeah, because he had that king move I saw afterward that I mentioned. But let's say he goes here and you just take the knight now, and he takes, and now you can just move your rook again, right? And what does he do? I mean, h4, sack a pawn with f5. These are his best moves. Yeah, I don't know. But here. Yeah, it's weird because they're not recommending to even contest now that you have the support. They want you to sack pawns, get your rook behind the h pawn. Like, I don't know. I don't really see humans going rook g1 here, but you never know. In any case, we get another win, even with this blunder. Good luck in your chess. I'll see you in the next one.